Thank you. So he's the voice for all the MPs within Ontario. So we listened to him. How many? 3 weeks ago? Already 3 weeks ago. And we're super happy to have her on board.
Something stood out in Canada today. And honestly, it wasn't what most people expected. Industry Minister Mélanie Joly stepped in front of the cameras, and instead of the usual carefully scripted government tone, Canadians saw something very different. She looked relaxed, confident, even playful. She was joking with reporters, getting genuine laughs from the room, and carrying herself with the kind of energy that made it clear. This wasn't just another routine press conference. Something bigger was in the air. Officially, the event was about a major federal investment, $165 million aimed at strengthening Canada's future workforce through Centennial College and next-generation skills training. A big announcement on its own. But politically, the moment everyone started paying attention came during the Q&A. Because that's when Joly was asked directly about the uncertainty, the pressure, and the ongoing economic noise coming from President Donald Trump and the White House. And this is where the room changed. Instead of sounding cautious, instead of sounding defensive, and instead of looking south for reassurance, Joly delivered a message that felt unmistakably Canadian, calm, direct, confident. Her message was simple. Canada is no longer making decisions based on political turbulence coming from south of the border. Canada knows where it's going, and it's moving forward on its own terms. And if that message reflects where Ottawa's thinking is heading right now, it could tell us a lot about how Canada plans to navigate a very different global economy in the months ahead. Before we break down exactly what she said and why it could carry major political consequences, subscribe to I Love Canada, where the headlines are only the beginning and the real story goes much deeper.
So were you told at any time by the Americans or any members of your own government that your efforts to penalize Stellantis for failing to honor its employment guarantees were undermining the trade talks with the U.S.?
First, no. And second, I must say, we will always fight for auto workers. We know that the American tariffs are illegal and unjustified. And my job and the job of the government is always to make sure that we have the utmost interests of Canadians in mind, and that's why we take our positions to make sure that we defend them.
And what do you make of the fact that the Americans seem to be bringing up this complaint some 6 months after it happened? Is it a sign that they are trying to put perhaps some pressure on this government to come back to the table?
Listen, we will continue to deal with unpredictability coming from the White House. Not only we are, but the rest of the world also is. I've been in contact with also my colleague, my counterpart in the EU, as the EU is facing a similar situation. And my goal ultimately is to make sure that we're building the economy here and building Canada strong. And so while there are many things we can't control in the world, and we can't control what's going on in the White House, there are many things we can control here at home. And we can control how we build this country and how we also invest in our talent. And that's exactly why I'm here today, along with Michael and Dolly, to make the right investments in the people that build this country. Woo! Yeah.
And this is where Minister Mélanie Joly's response became politically impossible to ignore. Because it wasn't just what she said about American tariffs, trade pressure, or the uncertainty coming out of Washington. It was how she said it. There was no tension in her voice, no hesitation, no sign that Canada was feeling cornered. If anything, she sounded calm, confident, and completely in control, as if Canada had already made peace with the fact that the global economic rules are changing, and Ottawa has no intention of being caught unprepared. Again and again, Joly came back to the same message. Canada is building strength here at home, investing in Canadian workers, training the next generation, strengthening domestic industry, and just as importantly, building new partnerships far beyond the United States. And make no mistake, that's bigger than a policy talking point. That's a clear sign of a deeper economic shift now taking shape across Canada. Because for decades, many countries operated under the assumption that when Washington applied economic pressure, the rest of the world would have little choice but to move closer to the United States. But in today's world, especially with President Donald Trump pushing a far more aggressive protection-first trade agenda, that assumption is starting to face a real test. And Canada appears to be sending a very different message. Instead of becoming more dependent, Canada is becoming more diversified. Instead of reacting with fear, Canada is adapting. And instead of waiting for stability to return from Washington, Canada may be building its own path forward. And if that strategy works, it won't just reshape Canada's economy, it could reshape how middle powers around the world respond to American pressure in the years ahead.
We're super happy to have her on board. And Craig, I must say I've heard great things about Centennial Colleges. I've read so many notes about it back in Ottawa and also in my hometown of Montreal. But I'm really happy to finally be here because really this is such an important gem. And the reason why I'm here, I must say, is first and foremost to say thank you. Thank you to all the teachers that are really putting their hearts and minds into supporting our students. Thank you to all of you. Thank you for all your hard work and while you're studying and getting the right skills for the future. And also thank you to the management, to Craig and your team, because this is a really important institution in everything that we're trying to do across Ontario and across Canada. So that's where we all applaud.
And this is exactly why today's announcement feels like so much more than a typical government funding story. Because Minister Mélanie Joly wasn't just talking about budgets, grants, or another policy rollout. She was talking about something much bigger, what she believes will define Canada's strength for decades to come. And according to Joly, Canada's greatest advantage isn't just our land, it isn't just our natural resources, and it isn't even our location. It's our people, the skilled workers, the students, the researchers, the engineers, the builders, the next generation of Canadians who will compete and win on the global stage. That's why this $165 million investment in Centennial College matters far beyond one campus, or even one province. Because this isn't simply about classrooms or new equipment. This is part of a much bigger national strategy, one designed to prepare Canada for a world that's becoming more competitive, more technologically advanced, and frankly, a lot more unpredictable. Whether it's advanced manufacturing, aerospace, clean technology, artificial intelligence, or world-class research, Ottawa appears to be making one thing very clear. If Canada wants to stay competitive, it has to invest in Canadian talent now. And what made Joly's message stand out even more was her attitude. Even while acknowledging trade tensions, global instability, and growing geopolitical pressure, she never sounded worried. She never sounded cautious. And she certainly never sounded like Canada was pulling back. Instead, every part of her message carried the same unmistakable tone, confidence, optimism, momentum, as if Canada isn't preparing to survive an uncertain world. Canada is preparing to lead in it.
Because, you know, when you think about it, Canada has a lot of great things. We have a fantastic geography, we have fantastic natural resources, great technology, etc. But fundamentally, our biggest strength is our people. And so we also see that in everything that is going on in the world right now as a competitive advantage. Because remember, Canada has the most educated workforce in the world. And so we're part of something that makes us unique in the world. And so what we're seeing today at work is the fact that we're preparing you, and the team here is preparing you to be the best auto workers, the best plant workers also in aerospace, in advanced manufacturing, doing the right research, being able to have the right skills for everything that is so important to build our country strong. And in these circumstances, Dolly, Michael, and my job is to work with you to foster the right environment, to foster the right economy for you to be able to develop these skills and have good jobs. And so at the time where there's so many unpredictability in the world, so many geopolitical tensions, what we need to do is first to protect jobs that are impacted by the trade war. We need to create jobs also, notwithstanding everything that is going on, to be able to be confident and build the country strong. And we need to attract talent and investment. Et donc, let me talk in French just a second. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on essaie de faire? C'est de faire en sorte de protéger les emplois, de créer les emplois et également d'attirer du talent et des investissements ici au pays. And so, we're doing that today. Today, I'm very, very happy to announce that we will be investing $165 million in the College and Community Innovation Program, which is delivered here by also the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council, which, of course, we all know, on the part of the three Tri-Council agencies. And so the goal of this program is really to help colleges such as Centennial College to have access to funds, to invest in research, and to be able then to train you well, and also work with businesses, companies that need the skills and the research that you're developing. So this will be really, really good news for community colleges across the country, CEGEP, that we call in my home province also. And I think it brings a breath of fresh air, as of course we wanted to reinvest and make sure that this program would continue. Donc, 165 millions pour le programme d'innovation dans les collèges et la communauté, financé par le Conseil de recherche en sciences naturelles et en génie du Canada. So we know that Centennial College is top-notch. We want to make sure that the diploma that you will get following your studies and your hard work here is actually worth the best in the world. So congratulations.
And when you step back and look at everything that happened today, the bigger message becomes impossible to miss. What Minister Mélanie Joly revealed during this press conference wasn't just another government policy. It felt like a clear statement about where Canada sees its future. For years, whenever economic tensions flared up with the United States, Canada often found itself playing carefully, watching Washington closely, reacting to policy shifts, and waiting to see what came next. But today, that didn't feel like Canada at all. The message coming out of Ottawa was very different. No hesitation, no panic, no sense that Canada's confidence rises or falls based on political turbulence coming from south of the border. Instead, the message was clear: Canada is going to keep investing. Canada is going to keep diversifying. And Canada is going to keep building new partnerships, no matter how uncertain the global climate becomes. And what made this moment politically powerful wasn't just what Joly said. It was how she said it. The confidence, the humor, the relaxed energy in the room, the genuine connection with reporters, and the way she kept bringing the conversation back to one core idea. Canada's greatest strength is its people, its workers, its students, its innovators, its long-term ability to compete on the world stage. Put it all together, and the message Ottawa appears to be sending right now is hard to ignore. This is not a moment for Canada to pull back. This is not a moment to operate from fear. This may be the moment Canada chooses to build something stronger, more independent, and far more resilient for the future. If you want analysis that goes beyond the headlines and breaks down the political and economic forces shaping Canada's next chapter, subscribe to I Love Canada, where the real story always goes deeper.